Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. In today's session, we are going to start with, or we'll be talking about how to navigate in the world of a data. It is a journey into the data science, right? Myself, Poonam Adhikari, and I'll be presenting this. Now, as we all are familiar with, the data is coming from all around the world. Irrespective of the source, the data that is generated is in the tremendous amount. It can be the data from the websites, blogs, maybe it is from the social media or a financial transactions. It can be from the credit card transactions that you are doing, e-commerce sites, or maybe from the social market or the stock markets, right? Here in the social media, we'll be having a data where the people are communicating with each other. What are the likes and dislikes? On the other hand, when we are talking about the financial transactions or maybe the stock market data, we are talking about the money and the financial transactions that we are handling up. Now, this shows that the data that we'll be having is going to be in the different formats or maybe from the different sources. Now, the question is how much data is generated and why this data is so important for us. If we talk about the very usual scenario where we're talking about the WhatsApp or maybe the video or the audio calls that we are having, or the Netflix users, or maybe Facebook, or the photos that has been shared over the different social media points, right? So it generally the amount or the amount of a data that is generated is in the tremendous amount. Now, if we have such a huge amount of our data, why we need this huge amount of our data and what is the benefit of this is the most important question that we are going to answer. Now, the very first application from this data can be we would like to investigate whether there is a fraud in the transactions that is going on or not. If we are able to detect like early detection of the fraud transactions that can happen, we can protect the very big financial decisions or the very big financial frauds that can happen online. As we all know, if there is a transactions that are going online, that means attackers can attack and get into inside your system and get your all the details, maybe your credit card details or maybe your go to the phone and get your OTPs, right? But if we get to know or if we get to know the pattern how this fraud is happening, we'll be able to detect it early and in the real time basis. That can save a lot of huge amount of transactions that can go. Followed by that, another thing that can happen is, let's suppose I'm watching a particular movie, Lords of Rings, right? One of my friend who shares a similar interest in my domain, he have not yet watched the movie, but he might have watched some other movie. Now the Netflix, what it wanted that the most of the people are engaged in my platform. To do that, how the Netflix is going to do the recommendation, if you have or your friend have watched some or the people who are having the similar kind of interest are watching a one particular movie, maybe you will also like it, right? That is going to show, okay, my friend has watched this movie, maybe this is a good movie. Or I have watched the similar movies, but searching for that particular movie is going to be a tedious task for me, but it is visible on screen for me as a suggestion. It is going to increase the time consumed by users on the particular platform. Not only this, if you have gone to maybe a supermarket or maybe any eating out point, maybe a McDonald's, right? There they are selling the burgers. Along with the burgers, they have seen people who are purchasing the burgers are also going to purchase the maybe a Coca-Cola or maybe a cold drink, right? But during the general winter seasons, they have seen a decline in the Coca-Cola or maybe the soft drinks that they are selling out. Then what they can do, they can make a package where they say, okay, usually people try out along with the burger, they try out soft drinks. Let's make a package where we'll give a 5 rupees or a 10 rupees discount or 5% or a 10% discount on the entire package so that the item of the second item can be increased or the sale of the second item can be increased, right? These are the marketing scenarios that we can do, and we can help our online transactions that are happening, or we can increase the sale of our items in the market. Followed by that, when we come to the security issues, let's suppose the cyber securities, right? Or maybe in the cameras that has been installed on a various public places. They can help us if someone has stolen something. With the help of a detection algorithm, we will be able to identify whether this person is the same person who have stolen the particular item, or who have stolen something from a particular place or not, with the help of a face identification. Okay, nowadays we do have a built-in models that are going to do all the tasks for us. Along with that, we can see, okay, if a face is matching, right, everyone's face, or most of the cases, the facial similarity, or maybe the iris similarity, or the structure of a similarity is going to be different from person to person. And that is going to help us identify maybe the answering the questions such as automatic attendance, right? If you wanted to look at maybe the crime scenes, right? If you wanted to make sure the cyber security, right? Just if someone has stolen your phone, right, and his or she has tried out 3 or 4 incorrect password, maybe just click the picture and upload in your drive. That is going to help us. Okay, this is the person who tried to get your phone and try to steal your phone, right? That is going to help you identify who is the thief. It will be easier to decrease the crime rate in our country, right? Not only limited to this, we can use this big data or the large amount of a data that is generated on the daily basis in case of a virtual assistance. You have seen the Apple watches or the real-time watches that we are having, that is going to give you the health insights. You might have gone to the YouTube, right, and you see the recommendations based on what are the things that you have watched previously, like based on your previous history of the movies or maybe the videos that you have gone through. It is going to search for the similar movies or the similar videos that are available in the YouTube and going to recommend those to you. This is going to make sure that the people are more engaged in the YouTube and the screen time is going to increase. Followed by that, in the banking system, you might have seen, for the security reasons, we use the customer ID and we just track what is your location. You cannot access your banking apps without turning on your locations, right? They're going to say, okay, if a person has a history of logging into the system, maybe from some part of a Chandigarh, right? On the other 5 seconds, or maybe 5 minutes, or maybe 5 hours, he cannot reach to other country, right? If they say a very far distance moment or the login moment, they can say, okay, it might be a fraud detection or someone is trying to fetch or go into the system unauthorized. Followed by that, we can have a navigation system which track which paths are more congested, or which paths are can lead to a very shortest distance. Along with it, we can have a auto tracking cameras as well. Now, when we are talking about these applications, we also need to understand, right, what are the sources of a data, from where we can extract such a big amount of a data, or where the data is getting stored, or from where we can extract the data. The very first kind of a data that we can get is a dynamic pricing or predicting the flight delays, right? The very first thing or the very first application that we can see. Or maybe second is, maybe we can try out the marketing strategies. We can suggest who can be your next friend in the social media, or maybe what are the posts that you can like. Along with that, we can show the automation in the driving, or automation in many of the tasks, credit card insurance, or maybe increase the sales of a particular e-commerce website, or maybe some particular demand forecasting or the discounting forecasting, right? It can also be applicable in the healthcare industries, where you see, okay, there is a incident that happened nearby. From the Google GPS, you found, okay, there is an accident that has happened. You inform the nearby hospital that some accident has happened, and let's prepare the staff for that, right? Now, when we talk about the data, it is very important for us to understand how much data we are going to handle, right? With what velocity we are getting the data, what are the different type of a data we will be handling, and how diverse the data is going to be. When we talk about the volume of a data, we generally talk about the size of a data, right? So as we have already discussed, the size of a data that we are having is increasing on the daily basis. on even a second basis, right? If you go through the social media post or maybe the YouTube videos that has been posted, go to the Instagram and look at the shots that has been posted on the daily basis, you will see a tremendous amount of a data is getting generated, and you can extract that data. Now, second thing is a velocity. That is a rate in which the data is getting posted there, or whether, for example, in the Instagram, 1 lakh videos have been posted in a second. Are we able to extract that 1 lakh videos or no? Right? With what speed the data is getting generated, are we able to extract or are we able to analyze that data with that speed or no? Right? The third part can be the veracity of our data, where we are talking about whether the data that we are having is authentic or not, or certainty of our data, we are to say. Lastly, but not the least, that is a variety of our data, right? What are the different type of a data that has been generated? For example, if I go to the social media post, for example, the Instagram, I can see in the Instagram, I can post my photos. I can post some text information along with the photos. I can post some videos along with that. I can post shots there, right? So the variety of a data also matters to us, whether it is a numerical data, whether it is a textual data, whether it is an image based data, maybe the audio based data, right? Or maybe the collection of images, that is a video based data. So the unstructuredness of a data is more and a more. Thus, because the size of a data is huge, with what velocity the data is generating is also high, followed by that authenticity of a data is very low. That means when we are talking about, okay, let's go to the YouTube and check how many videos are getting uploaded on in a second basis or a millisecond basis, we'll see some videos are very redundant as well, right? So when we are talking about the redundant videos, we'll see those redundant videos, like how to identify that the video is redundant or not. If I search in the Google that I wanted to look at the courses in the data science, or I wanted to have a look at the what are the different steps to process the data, I'll get a lot of a redundant content as well. Right? Now the question is how to select whether the data that we are having is good or not. Right? That is the authenticity of a data. Followed by that, we are going to also understand what is the variety of a data, whether a textual data is important or the image based data is important for our analysis, or maybe a video based or the audio based. Which kind of a data is going to give us more information to us, right? And analyzing all this thing in a one platform or by a manual form is going to be a really tedious task for us, right? If we have a manual labor or a human being asked to design the task to analyze maybe a 1 million tweets or 1 million YouTube videos on the daily basis, it seems to next to be impossible task, right? So that's why the industry is looking for the data scientist. Now the question is, what makes you a good data scientist? Or if you wanted to be a data scientist, what are the skills that are required to become a good data scientist? First is, you should be very skeptical and curious about what the data is trying to say, right? It is the data should communicate. You should be able to communicate with the data. If I'm getting a video, you should be able to know at each part of the video what it is trying to say. What is the information that you can extract from it? Secondly, you should have the knowledge of a machine learning to analyze, like to do the future prediction. To validate whether the data is correct or not, you should have a mathematical understanding that includes the statistics and the probability. Followed by that, you should also know whatever things you have in your mind. For example, if I say, okay, if I go through the YouTube videos, or if I go to the tweets that has been posted by the users about the next upcoming elections, maybe I'll think that Aam Aadmi Party or maybe some BJP party is going to win the election, right? Whatever is my thought process, I should be able to test with the help of a data using some mathematical tools and techniques. To perform all these tasks, as I have already discussed, human or having an individual human that can perform all this task is going to be really difficult. right? So what we needed, we should have a coding skills as well. That means if we ask a computer to do the same things that we wanted to do, my computer can work very fast compared to any humans if I give the clear and concise instructions to the computer, right? Now, whenever we talk about the data science, it follows a 5 different steps, mostly, right? It's not the same throughout the process, but mostly, or like a outline is like going to be the 5 different steps. One is going to be from where you are going to obtain the data. What is the source of a data? Or how can you extract that particular data? The data can be from some social media, it can be from some YouTube videos, it can be your Instagram, it can be some legal documents, it can be your exam paper, or it can be the research papers. Now, once you get the data, it comprises of a lot of like a noise in the data. The second step that we are going to have is we need to scrub the data, that means clean the data. When you are getting the noise in the data and you're saying, okay, let's feed it to the model, that is not going to work well. So we need to give a clear instructions to the model or any machine learning models. That's why the data cleaning is the most important, and most of the time the data scientists spend is in the cleaning of the data to check whether the data that we are having is correct, is in the correct form or not, is it authentic or not. One example can be, let's suppose Indian government is going to have a survey on the census, right? They are going to conduct a census now. We do not know if a person is comfortable sharing his personal identification or not. Or if I'm having some online survey, a person can write any redundant data as well that is not valid. Or if I'm doing some manual survey, a person can write, or a person can do the mistakes while writing some things. Okay, so we need to identify all the possible flaws that a data can have. For that we say, okay, maybe a person do not wanted to share the information, that means person skipped a particular question to answer. That means that person's information is not relevant to me for the time being. person needed to Person was asked to write down his age. Instead of writing 60, he wrote 600. Or instead of writing 60, he wrote minus 60. In that case also the data becomes useless for me, right? Second thing, or the third step that we are going to do is, after cleaning the data, after identifying, okay, these are the flaws, that means these things needed to be corrected. After cleaning the data, we are going to explore the data in the next step. When we talk about exploring the data, it is going to be like this. I do have a YouTube video. From that YouTube video, I wanted to understand why that YouTube video is so popular. What kind of a content has been added up in that video that makes the video popular? Or maybe the timing on which the video has been created or posted, maybe the user who posted that, maybe the search engine optimization that they have done, right? I wanted to explore the data, or I wanted to find, is there any significant pattern in the data that makes a video popular, or any kind of a video? Is there any significant pattern in the company's profile that makes that company a popular company or increasing the share price, right? So I wanted to understand what is the importance, or what is the key features that my data is holding up. Once I get to know that, I'll give my cleaned data to my machine learning models. Why it is required? Because I wanted to do the future prediction. I hope you all are familiar with the Zomato, right? It is popular in all over the India, or the Uber, or maybe the Ola. You see, the Zomato can give you a approximately correct prediction on how much time, or like how long it is going to take your order to deliver, right? Now, using that, how it is doing the prediction, how it is telling you this is the actual amount of a time it is going to take, or maybe the Flipkart or the Amazon. and within that time frame you get your order delivered, right? Now the question is how it is getting the that kind of information. So for that, they do use a machine learning models that is going to do the prediction. What is going to be the prediction for the any case? You give the past data, you give the clean data, and you ask your model to do the prediction. But your model can do the prediction correctly or it can go incorrect as well. So it is also important for us to understand how good my model is working, whether the model is very good or it's not good. That means we need to interpret the model. Now, we'll explain or we'll go through each and every step one by one. Now, when we talk about the sources of our data, it can be from the websites, it can be from the IoT devices, different databases, maybe social media, right? Or maybe the networks or the media or the legal documents. Followed by that, when we talk about the data cleaning, it can be importing the data from a part, merging the different data sets that are available in the different sources. And if there exists some missing values, we need to somehow fill those missing values or do something about the missing values. Standardizing and normalizing the data. Deduplication, if there exists a duplicate data, we wanted to remove the duplicates. Verification of the data and exporting the data, saying it is a clean. Then we are going to do the exploratory data analysis, that is called as a EDA. That is, we are going to clean the data, analyze the relationship between the data or different features, and understand the data. Now, when we are saying a model, the model can be any AI model, any machine learning model, or it can be any deep learning model that is going to help us do the prediction in the future. Now, when we talk about the machine learning, which is the basic building block, right? In the machine learning or in general, in the traditional programming, what we used to do, we used to build the rules that comprises of loops or the if else. We give the apples or the, let's suppose we wanted to identify whether green apples and the red apples. We used to give the rules and the data. We build the rules and ask for the answer. Now, in the machine learning, what is our target? Our target is we're going to give the data, and I'll tell this data represent this thing, X represent Y. Now you build the rules yourself. And next time, if I give you a new apple, my model or my machine learning model should be able to identify whether this is a red apple or a green apple. So my machine learning model should be able to distinguish between the red apple and the green apple. Now, the second thing is going to be your machine learning systems. We do have a different type of a machine learning algorithm that is going to start with the supervised machine learning, followed by unsupervised and the reinforcement learning. When we talk about the supervised machine learning, we are going to provide the labeled data. Labeled data means in the data we are providing the target as well. In the unsupervised machine learning, the labels or the target variable is not available. Lastly, in the reinforcement learning, we are giving the environment or we are giving the like a chess kind of a game in which we are asking our model to understand, go and play, and your aim is to maximize the score. Your score is going to be if you are able to deduct the points or if you are able to remove any dice from the opponent, you are going to get the positive score. If your dice is getting removed, you are going to get the negative scores. Your aim is to increase your scores as much as possible. That is going to be called as a reinforcement learning. Now, in the supervised model, we are giving the data where we are giving the images of the red colored or the different type of apples, and we are saying these are apples. We are giving bananas and we are telling these are bananas. We are giving oranges and telling these are oranges. When we're telling these are apples or bananas or the oranges, they are called as a labels. In the next step, when your machine learning model is trained, in the next step, we are going to give one orange to the model, and my model's task is to do the prediction of that. What is this? Whether it is an apple, whether it is a banana, or whether it is an orange, right? Followed by that, in the second scenario, when we are having the unsupervised machine learning, we are going to have the data only. That means we are given with a basket of a fruit where there is like a fruits that comprise of maybe oranges, apples, as well as bananas. Now we are asking our machine learning model. We are not telling this is an apple, this is an orange, or this is a banana. We are asking our machine learning models to identify which looks very similar to each other, just keep or just create a one basket of it and put them together. That means all the oranges should be in the one group or one cluster. All the apples should be in the one cluster, or all the bananas should be in the another cluster. Similarly, when we are talking about the reinforcement learning, we do have an agent and we are asking our agent to like go and fill the water in the bucket. My agent can go here and there. If he is able to fill the, or if he goes nearer to the water tap, then we are going to say you are getting the positive points. If you're going away from the water tap, maybe if you're going towards the fire, you're going to get the negative steps. So your agent is going to move here and there, and it is going to analyze to which direction if I move, I'll increase my points. For example, if it is moving towards the left hand side, that is towards the fire, it is getting negative points, that is minus 50. Next time, your model is going to remember that this is a bad step to take. So I should go towards some other direction. Right? Now, once we are done with the building up the model, you are going to say how well your model is performing, whether the model that you have built is good or bad. That is called as a prediction of the model or evaluation of the model. Right? Now, after building the model or doing the evaluation of a model, now the question is like, why actually you wanted to become a data scientist? As we have discussed earlier, that the fuel of the 21st century, right? Earlier we used to say fuel is what makes you rich, but nowadays data is what makes you rich, or data is what makes you take the right decisions. Followed by that, when we see the problem in hand, that means such a huge amount of a data is getting generated, then the people who have expertise in handling such a huge amount of a data are very less for the time being. It is going to bring you a very good career, and the data science is also changing the world. It is going to make the prediction or make sure that the predictions that you are doing is going to be improvised or going to help you make a good decision making. Right? So these are the courses that we are having, and if you have any questions, you are free to ask. Thank you. Any questions, anyone? Hi Pratap, good evening. Okay, if anyone have any questions, feel free to ask. Hi Rohit, how are you?